What is up guys, I hope you're well. Today we're covering r/Tales from the Pizza Guy. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe button, and maybe that notification bell if you enjoy the content of course. And let's get straight into today's stories. Much love guys. Our first story is from I Fall Up the Stairs a Lot. Caught manager stealing, ended up with a hefty raise. This happened a few years ago. When I was 16, I got my first job working for a franchise-owned pizza place. I worked there until I was 24. When I was 19, I received the shift leader position and got a 30-cent raise. Our store was pretty slow and we only had a handful of employees there, so I understood. One day the franchise owner comes in when I'm running my shift to tell me I'd be getting a new manager. The franchise owner gave me his personal number and said if I needed anything, to call him if the new manager had any problems. So the next day I'm working my 10 AM till 12 AM shift and the new manager comes in. We'll call him Stan. We talk a little more and he asks why there isn't an assistant manager. I let him know that I probably don't make enough to pay an assistant manager. He said he would worry about that and he left. I jumped to the conclusion that he was going to make me the assistant. Wrong. I closed that night and had to come in at 4 PM the next day. When I did, Stan was there with a girl I've never seen before wearing one of our uniforms. He said it was his roommate, Wendy. She had never worked for a pizza place before, but she just lost her job. He hired her as the assistant manager and completely changed my schedule and severely cut my hours. Oh, and guess who had to train her? Yep. Before Stan and Wendy, I worked 10 AM till 12 AM 4 days a week, then 4 to close on the 2 other days. Now I just had 4 PM till 12 AM 5 days a week, no more overtime. That severely hurt me financially, but I sucked it up. This place was pretty much in my backyard and I loved my job before all this mess. The next couple of weeks are okay, except we're coming up short every night that I close. Usually no more than $10, but that's a lot. And it was coming back on me because I'm the one who does the nightly inventory, paperwork and deposits. I brought the shortage problem to Stan and he told me that if it kept happening, he would start taking it from my check. I'd never stolen a penny from this place and I felt pretty attacked. He says he wasn't accusing me, just letting me know what he'd have to do. I said fine. Every day from now on, when I close, I want to do a shift change. A shift change is basically counting down the drawers, which would help figure out where the shortages are coming from. He agrees. The very next day I go in at 4 and start clocking in and all the fun stuff before Wendy leaves. I look at the order screen for the day to see how well we did for lunch, money wise, and I noticed something. I said at 12 a customer, just happened to be one of my regulars, called and ordered 10 pizzas for pickup. It said the order was cancelled. They had never cancelled before, so I was concerned. Quick side note, I feel like I was being more of a manager than both of mine put together. By the way, I was in the back office counting the drawers. Wendy was covering the front. I pick up the phone and call the customer from earlier. I didn't ask why he cancelled. I asked how his experience was today, since we had a new manager. He said it was fine, except she needed to learn how to work the credit card machine. Apparently she told him she could only take cash. He said he left, went to the ATM and came back and paid $80 in cash for the pizzas. He said other than that, everything was fine. I asked to confirm and he said he most definitely didn't cancel. So here's one possibility. The credit card machine did go down and she could only accept cash, so she cancelled the order in the computer until he came back and paid, and she forgot to ring it up again. That would be harmless. Instead, I think she's stealing. I knew if I went to Stan he wouldn't do anything about it, so I call our franchise owner, Eric. I ask his opinion and he said he thinks I'm right, so he tells me what to do. First, I wasn't allowed to say a word about it to Stan or Wendy. He said let Wendy leave and finish out the day as usual. He said if she's not stealing, you'll come up 80 over at the end of the night. If she's stealing, we should break even. I finished counting. We were $1 short. Side note again, if this is hard to follow, I'm so sorry. The next day is when the magic happens. I go in at 4 as usual. Wendy is there waiting for Stan to pick her up. Then Eric walks in. He tells her to follow him to the office and tells me to send Stan back when he gets here. Stan comes in and asks why Eric is there. I shrug and tell him he's wanted in the office. Maybe 20 minutes later, Stan walks out, brushes past me and gets in his car. Wendy comes out next and tells me she hopes I'm happy. Eric hadn't come out of the office yet, so I went back there to talk to him. He said in 3 weeks they stole over 1,000 between them and he would never have known if it wasn't for me. He then says, oh, you're the new assistant manager. I'm going to give you $13 an hour and we will consider more after a preliminary period. $13 an hour? I was making $8.50 before this. I stayed a few more years after this and left to do the mum thing. I actually miss it sometimes. Wendy and Stan Facebook stalked me for a couple of months after. It was pretty hilarious. If you read all that, you're a trooper, and thank you. Hope this fits here. Damn! I was a bit confused at the start of the story because I was like, how come you ain't getting that assistant manager job way earlier than that? You're clearly doing a manager's role, having to count the money and all that kind of stuff. And then this newbie gets put in. I'm surprised you sucked that job up for as long as you did, because that's pretty insane that they didn't give you the assistant manager position, though you was clearly doing it before. Absolute madness. Our next story is from Ticking Bombshell. I finally called somebody out for not tipping. So we have this guy as one of those regulars you don't want. Rounds down change and gets upset when we insist he pays for the entire tab. Calls and cancels about 10 minutes before that scheduled delivery time. Never tips. Oh, I got him good last night. I ended up being the lucky one with his order. I walked to his place of business, a 7-Eleven convenience store. They were packed. I walked up to this lovely non-tipper and start the handoff. The exchange went a little something like this. I say, I have your order here. Can I get you to fill out and sign this slip? He grabs a pen and scribbled his name. I need you to fill out all 3 spots, not just sign it. Why? The original total is correct. I say rather loudly, if you're going to stiff your driver, I'm going to make you own it. This got a lot of dirty looks in his direction from not only his co-workers, but all the customers. Let's hope he never orders again. Edit for clarity, the guy refused to fill out a ticket. He is well known for putting in chargebacks. He has made inappropriate comments to younger female drivers. This is not as much about calling him out for tipping as is to make him fill out his darn slip fully. However, while calling him out for not tipping may not be appropriate, it is the lesser evil for making constant chargebacks. Damn, at first I was like, oh, calling someone out for not tipping, you know, a tip is a tip. I know it's a different thing in America and stuff. I always tip drivers, so don't get on my back about it, but do you always expect the tip in the US? That's where I'm confused. You need to clear that one up for me. Our next story is from Blue Dragonfly 319. Was my customer dead? This happened a few months ago when it was warmer outside, but it's definitely the weirdest experience I've had delivering pizza. I'm at my last delivery of the night and no one answers the door. Call, no answer. Walk around to the back door and can see the customer sitting on the couch through the back door. Dude has his legs crossed and his head resting on his shoulder. He's in a position that would be very uncomfortable to sleep in, yet he appears to be asleep. I knock on the door as loud as I can. His dog comes to the door, then back to his person. He nudges his person and puts his paw on his knee. There is no reaction. Customer doesn't move. Now I'm legitimately concerned and bang on the window right next to where he's sleeping. No response. While back at my car decided with my manager if I need to call the cops for a wellness check, I see a dog running towards me. The neighbour is outside smoking, so I ask her if she knows the customer, and she says she does. The dog ends up being the same dog that was in the house. Neighbour says this is very abnormal and he would never let the dog out alone. We walk back to the back door and now the main door is open with just the screen closed. Dude is no longer on the couch. Thank God he's alive, but where the fuck is he? I turned to say something to the neighbour and then I jumped a foot. Dude was laying down 8 to 10 feet away in the grass in his backyard, passed out cold. Neighbour wakes him up, tells him his pizza's here. He gets up, pays, apologises and goes back inside. I was so relieved that he wasn't dead and so shocked that we found him outside that I wasn't upset about it. Just so freaking glad that dude wasn't dead. What the hell? Do you reckon he's got some sort of condition where he just passes out every so often? You'd have thought he'd explained it. Or was he doing some, was it some kind of weird fetish? Our next story is from Not a Scrub. Never thought I'd actually hear these words. So I work at Domino's as a driver / shift lead in kind of a wealthy area. It's a pretty decent job and the tips are usually great. We're one of the cleanest stores and because of the location of our store we only really deliver to 2 areas down the 2 highways that intersect nearby. So on this night I'm a shift lead. It's a Tuesday or Wednesday, one of our slower days usually. Today is busy for some reason. I only have 3 drivers during rush, myself and one insider we call Amy. So we're rocking along, but obviously we aren't exactly able to keep up. Eventually we get far enough behind that we start to call every order back to let them know the estimated delivery time in at least 1 hour to 1.5 hours. About 7:30 the phone rings, Amy answers and talks to them for a bit, then hangs up. Just checking their order status, it's the next delivery. It had been finished and just sitting on the warmer for about 25 minutes at this point, but all my drivers had just left the store on triples, so they were going to be gone for 30 to 45 minutes. So I had to call them back and let them know that if they wanted to pick it up, they could now or wait the 45. Amy calls and lets them know. They say it's fine. They had ordered for their kids while they were out and won't be able to pick it up. Cool. About 20 minutes go by and the phone rings again. Amy answers. I keep making pizzas. Amy hangs up the phone and comes to tell me that the people she had called earlier just called again. Their 2 medium pizzas are still on the warmers. She said she had spoken to the mother and that she was a little upset this time, which is understandable. It had been around 1 hour since they had ordered and their order was still at the store. While Amy is telling me how she apologised and assured the customer that their pizza would not be cold, the phone rings again. Amy goes to answer and immediately turns around and says they want to speak to the manager. Great. Just a little info. The policy at our franchise is to wow the customer. Basically, if we have an angry customer, we're supposed to apologise, give them what they want, and give them something extra. So usually in this scenario, I would offer to give them this pizza free, as well as a free side, or a 2 litre on their next order. So this is where my mind is when I start the conversation. I pick up the phone, and this is how I remember it going. I say, Domino's, this is not a scrub, how can I help you? You're the manager, right? I am tonight, yes sir. Okay, so you're going to need to fire Amy because she's an idiot. After saying this, he immediately jumped into his next sentence, but I cut him off by saying, I won't be firing anyone, and I would appreciate if you didn't talk about my co-workers that way. Now how can I help you? He really didn't like that. Okay, so I'm pretty sure she is an idiot, because she told my wife that our order has been ready for about 45 minutes, but that it won't be cold. So I just want to know how that's possible. Well sir, it's been on the heat rack for 45 minutes. If you'd like us to remake it for you, we can. Well, Amy said it's been out for 45 and you're saying it's in the warmer, so which one of you is lying? At this point I'm done with his attitude. It's been a long, hard night, but I was planning on giving him good service, but he had done everything he could prove he didn't deserve that. I responded with, Sir, your order has been out on the heat rack for 45 minutes. I'm looking at it right now and can see the steam coming off of it. Ha, okay. I see, well that's probably not steam then. What he meant by that I never learned. Okay, not a scrub. Are you the general manager? No sir, I'm just the shift lead tonight. Our GM is, name, and he's sick with the flu right now, so I don't know for sure when he'll be in again. Haha, okay, well that's fine. I'll just call back sometime and get Amy fired that way then. Like I said earlier sir, we're not going to fire Amy. Well let me ask you this, not a scrub. What's your last name? Dude, I'm not giving you my last name, you're crazy. At this point I completely dropped my customer service mask and was talking like I would any other crazy person. That's fine, all I really needed was your first name. You and your boss better watch out, because you know that Domino's delivery guarantee. Yeah, well I have you know that I'm an influencer with over 1,000 followers. Here I started laughing so hard. Yeah, I'm glad you think it's funny, because you and Amy are going to be looking for new jobs soon. Okay man, if you want to cancel your order let me know. My driver just got back, so the pizza will be delivered in 15 minutes, and I hung up. I immediately called my sick GM to let him know what was going on, in case he had to explain to our district manager. His only response was, they're idiots, good job. Just as our driver was about to leave, the phone rings. It's the influencer again. Yeah, I want you to go ahead and cancel this order and refund me, and you better tell your driver that if he comes to our property, I'll have him arrested for trespassing. Well sir, that's a little excessive, but I will gladly cancel your order. He started to go into another rant, but I immediately hung up. I was so satisfied. I never really stand up to customers, but this night had already been so awful, and if he had just been polite, he would have gotten free food like everyone else. It's been 3 weeks since then, and not only do I still have my job, but I've gotten a raise, so I guess 1,000 followers isn't enough. How would you respond? Edit, I should also add that our store is severely understaffed right now. We have all our employees scheduled for the max they can work with their availability. Obviously I don't want to give out old pizzas, but the way Domino's system works doesn't allow you to hold an order until you have a driver. And if I delay making my delivery orders to get better delivery times, I would be fired fairly quickly. It sucks, but the people who matter don't care if customers get bad pizzas. They just look at our stats. I always remake pizzas for customers if I check that they're not fresh enough anymore. Damn. People trying to use their follows to get free pizza, man. Like that's going to make any difference. And I mean, come on, 1,000 followers these days. Oh dear. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. This is a new subreddit for us. So as always, if you enjoyed these stories, please leave a comment below. It really helps us out. Lets us know that you're enjoying these subreddits or we should try something else. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Much love. Goodbye.